Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to drop a buy limit order. Okay, we got long right there. And explain to you why I like this trade. We're going to automatically use a two-point hard stop. Price go more than 2 points right out of this trade. But the reason I like this trade is I'm going to demonstrate to you. You see these lows across here. We bounced here several times. There's the big low. And so prices broke lower, and I'm expecting them to bounce out of here. You can see we got long. What I did was I dropped a limit order in there. Probably could have got a better entry than we did. And what we will try to do is just simply scalp out on two of our contracts, and then we'll see if we can get a runner. We'll see if prices will come all the way back up here and test this out. We may even make a low of the day right here. And but generally, you can expect at least a pullback in here, a strong bounce. It's good for several points, a couple of points or whatever. And that's what we're banking on here. And again, you definitely don't want to use any more than a 2-point stop here, because sometimes you'll get this wrong and prices will just turn and shoot on down on a breakout pullback. And so we don't want to make that, you don't want to give this a lot of room. But this trade will work so many times, probably 9 out of 10 times, if you're finding the right support and resistance areas. And we'll go back and talk about that some. But I use this strategy quite often. And generally the way I teach this is you would want to enter above this bar if you like the setup. But sometimes by entering the way I entered, you get out a whole lot quicker and a whole lot faster. And we got maybe an extra tick or so head start by doing it the way I did it, dropping in a limit order right above the low. This was the low I had marked. We did go down and test this other low, and we could turn lower from right here. And I may get stopped out. In fact, you might even want to tighten your stop to 1 tick below the signal bar here right now, just in case we are wrong. And I think I will do that, because if this turns down, I'll probably be wrong. So we'll go ahead and tighten our stop. And here we go. We're heading towards our exit order here, and we're still below the EMA here, so that makes me feel comfortable. We'll probably get out of this scalp portion of this trade at least. And but many times you can scalp an easy 4 or 5 points off this trade, because this is a proven support and resistance area. And once we get out of this trade, out of the scalp portion, there we go. You see, we're out now. We're at break even plus 1. We could leave this at break even, but we've made $100 now, no matter what happens. And if prices go higher, what we'll try to do is we'll try to get 2 points off our runner, and that will get us out well before we reach the highs up here that have turned prices several times before. And that would actually give us 4 points off this trade if we're successful, if we don't get stopped out on our break-even stop. But at this point now, understand this trade cannot lose money. The worst scenario is that we only make 2 points and a tick, so we'll basically make 9 ticks out of this trade at the very worst. It's looking really good. There's a good chance here we may go ahead and get our 2 points on this runner. See if that can happen. And a lot of times this is where you get your best runners, because you're buying at an extreme low after a long move down, and you see we've actually got one leg down and pull back and then a second leg down. So that was another reason I was looking for a reverse down here. Not only did we have the strong support resistance, that's number one, but secondly, I see a 2-legged move. So let's see if we can get out of the rest of this trade here, and then I will explain to you why I took this trade and what I was attempting to do in a little more detail, because when the market's choppy like this, it's hard to make money. It's hard to catch trends, so you've got to have an alternative strategy if you want to trade. When it's real choppy like this, I tell people the best thing probably for you to do is just close up and go home, because if you don't understand how to trade this stuff, it can cost you some money, and it can cost you some big money, because all you do is you get chopped up. You can't get a move that you're better off to do a lot of scalping in this stuff. And we might have missed out on this trade by a single tick. I was hoping we could get this 2 points out of this. I might have been too greedy there, and that's what happens sometimes. But I was really hoping we'd catch a strong low here and get a strong bounce out of there. We may survive this. We'll see what happens. I've had prices get within a tick of my break-even stop many times, and that trade's still going to make me a lot of money. But the closer it gets to it, the higher the odds are we're probably going to get stopped out on this. But we'll see what happens here. You know that there's always a strong chance that you get a resistance at the EMA, especially in a downtrend. And so even if prices are going to go higher, it doesn't surprise me that they're struggling to get through that EMA, because that's where the smartest traders are all looking to sell. They're not looking to sell down here. They're looking to sell on a pullback to the EMA. And if I hadn't have already moved my stop here, some traders like to manage their stops differently. And if I hadn't have already moved my stop to 1 tick below this bar, which just happens to be where we're at, I would definitely move it here now. And because you don't want prices to back up and take away the $100 that we've already put in our trading account. It was a relatively quick and easy $100. And again, I'm going to explain this trade in more details in a moment. But see what happens. It's looking like we're probably going to get stopped out. There's probably a lot of stops sitting right there, and they're going to try to run them, and we'll see if they can. But again, another thing that I was looking at here about going long here is we already had one leg down, pull back. So this was a two-legged move back to a new low. And generally, okay, we got stopped out there. But let me show you this trade, a little bigger picture and a little more details. Yes, you could say I was probably counter trend trading here because the shorter term trend has definitely been down. But the reason I like this long is anytime you see prices, an area where prices have turned multiple times like this, you see we turned here once, twice, a couple more times at a higher level, 3, 4 times again at a higher level, and we basically have a double bottom in place right here based on this. And generally a double bottom, especially at a strong support area, is going to be good for a scalp. And you can see if you'd caught the very low here, 81 to 84, that's the easy 2 points in there. And all we're trying to do is take 4 ticks out of that. But this is where you will find a lot of your stops. This is where people look to sell. And you can see up here is what I would consider the top of the range. And prices have turned here once, twice, 3 times in the last couple of days. So if we'd have been here at this point right here, this would have been a good place to try to do exactly what we just did. Again, we're not looking to hang on long term, and we're just looking for a quick scalp. And then I always use runners, especially at these points, because this is where prices turn and you get some of the biggest, strongest, fastest moves out of here. And we may end up getting that right down here before it's over. And prices may rocket on up, but we got stopped out. But we could always look to re-enter if we like the way it's setting up. I'm not about to enter above a doji on a double bottom, but if we got a nice reversal bar here instead of this doji right here, then I might look to re-enter the trade. But I dubbed this into the original video. But as you can see, remember what I was trying to tell you. I was pretty confident this was going to happen. When it's going to happen is sometimes the hard part. But look at this trend. Remember, this is where we were talking about when the video left off, and I told you prices were likely to rocket out of here. And look at this move. And there was a great place to enter this here. You had your new low. Prices failed on this breakout. Went higher, prices got slightly back above the EMA, slightly back into the trading range, which is where I had this line, and they turned down. And when they broke lower here, and then reversed and closed on the very high, this was where you went long. And if you got long right there, look at this move. This is what I was hoping would happen before the video ended. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go chop off some of the other video and throw this throw this part in there so you can see what I was talking about. So if the other video seemed like it ends abruptly and this one starts, the other video had gotten, when I ended it, I was 20 minutes long. It felt like we were talking for 30 seconds and it was 20 minutes long, and I apologize for that. But what we'll do is I'm going to cut it down and get it under 10 minutes and add a couple of minutes of this right here, just so you can see, because this is what I was hoping to demonstrate to you, that, once prices broke below this previous important area here, they trapped all these shorts down here, all these people that don't know better. And the ones that I really feel sorry for, and it wouldn't surprise me if some of those people are watching this video right now, are the ones that went short below this big bearish bar, because that is nothing but a mere short trap. And do you know that? No, you don't know that. But you don't risk entering at these kind of lows with all these overlapping bars, because this is what happens to you. They trick you. They sucker you into the market. They make you think that prices, hey, you sat here and watched all this movement down, and now we're fixing to make another leg down, and we want you don't want to miss out. You got to get in here. Look at this big, beautiful entry bar. Enter right here, and think about somebody sold right there on those two, on this single tick lower, and they sold the low bar of the day, and now prices are, let's just call this 1180, have been 12 points higher. And that's why you can't sell lows, and that's why you can't buy highs. And so hopefully this is a great learning example today. And this is what I was hoping to catch. I got in right here. My trade worked out perfect, but I was a little early. But that's why we scalp out and go to a runner in case we're wrong. And you can see, prices worked a little bit lower, came down here and broke lower and trapped a bunch of shorts and so forth. And then they rocket out of here, because now they know they got all these shorts in here who have safety stops all back up through here above each of these highs. The really, the ones that are really not smart traders, they're going to give it all the way up to here. And so that's probably where a lot of dumb traders had their orders sitting up here. But look again what happened when we got to this high point. Look at prices selling off. So if you'd have bought down here, you could have looked to exit up here. Or at the very worst up here, but look how prices have turned up here in this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And if you move your line down here just to help you visualize it, look at that. Can you not see that? This is, prices are going to try to turn somewhere up here, because they've turned up here all these other times. And each time they've gotten up here, they're getting a little bit lower. Look at that. We got all the way to here this time to 1195 or so. The next time we could only get to 1193. This next time we couldn't even get to 1193. This time we didn't get to this high. So we'll probably end up going higher. My guess is we're going to test this high before it's over. I don't know that. This may turn out to be the resistance area. But that's why we got our lines here, and that's why we watch this. But usually what I will do is use the last closing prices. And if you see, if I drop this line to those closing prices right there, look where prices turned. And so this is an art. This is, I know this because I've done it long enough and I've watched it. How long would it take somebody to figure that out on their own? A long, long time. It took me forever to figure it out. So you're not going to learn this stuff overnight. But if you watch my videos and you listen to what I'm showing you, I can show you the important things right now that may take you forever to learn. And so learn to spot this stuff. And again, what I'm telling you here, remember this. Write this down if you need to. Come back and watch this video again if you need to. But generally what I will do is I will put my lines where the last closing prices are. Before that, the line would have been here. And look what happened when prices got right up there to that area. They couldn't even get there that time, and they sold off. So this time, there's your closing areas. I move them down to here. And look what happens. That's exactly where we got to, and now prices are selling off. So this stuff's important. Learn to watch it and learn to see it. And this line down here now, I may move down to here, and look where those closing prices are. Look how prices, even when they did get below that point, they're nothing but stems. There's 3 stems down there. Nothing could ever close down there. Let's go back across here and see if there's nothing else across there. But that's probably where my line will stay right now. And if we come back down there again, I'd probably buy down there because it may be just a scalp, maybe all I get out of it, but I bet you prices will bounce again when they get down in this area again. So anyway, when I came back to shut down my charts and I saw this, I just had to come back and show it to you. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten the other video. I'm going to chop it in half, and I'm going to throw this on the end of it and make one video today. So if it seems like we switch gears real fast, this is the reason why. But hopefully you learned something today, and this is how you trade trading ranges. Trust me, we had a short-term downtrend here. Right here we had a short-term downtrend. Right here we had a short-term uptrend. Then we had another short-term downtrend. But this market, if you back out and look, this market is not trending. It's in a trading range, and this is your low area right in here, and this is your high area right up here. And this is where I figure we're going. But this is where you got to be real careful entering in the middle. Remember what we talked about? Look what happened every time you entered in the middle here. You likely got whipsawed. And so be careful entering here. This is not a good place to be entering. You should have been looking to enter down here, and you might look again to enter when we get up here. That's the way the markets work. Don't get stuck in the middle of the chop. If you're going to enter in a trading range, look to get long at the lows, look to get short at the highs. All right, I'm going to call it a day so that we don't have a 50-minute video today. But spend a few days over the holidays while you got nothing else to do, watching this video and understanding, and then go back. And once you understand what I'm telling you, go back and get your charts out and study them and look how you see this over and over and over. And if you didn't do anything but buy and sell these strong support areas with a hard stop, I promise you will make money. And that's just using that strategy alone. If you want to just, I actually love these kind of days because they're so predictable. They're so much predictable than a trend, because a trend can turn and change at any time and start going 100 miles an hour in the other direction. But these trading ranges, that doesn't happen. They reach these areas, they turn around and go 100 miles an hour in the other direction, just like right here. I mean, I love these, and I had a great feeling that's what was going to happen down here. I just got in a little early, but that's why you scalp out and look to re-enter, so you don't. Because in case we're wrong and it does go lower, we don't give them any money. By going in and getting our bid and getting out, then we don't have any risk in the trade. And if it does turn like it did right here, that's where you should have entered, right there above that bar. And you could have actually entered above this one, because I think it broke lower first and then went higher. But at the very least, you should have went long right here. And yes, you would have been going long at a kind of a high point right here. But the reason it was okay was because of this trap, and because of this bigger trap where we broke below this support area. So odds are we're going back to the high of the range, because that's what prices do on range days. They test the lows, they test the highs, and they reverse. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Make sure you study this video closely. This is a very important video. And learn to spot these strong support areas. Put your lines on your charts. And hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving holiday. Enjoy the time with your family. Take the rest of the week off, even though the market's going to be open. If you want to sim trade it, that's great. But there's not going to be a lot of volume, and there's going to be a lot of craziness like this right here and all this chop. And, you're better off to take this time, go enjoy it with your family. And anyway, have a great Thanksgiving holiday. I will see you next week. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com.